Welcome back, everybody, to MB2 Underground. Today's episode is hotter than Josh Allen in the red zone, but definitely not hotter than Josh Allen. My name is Sarah Kiefer.
And I'm JT Jonathan Tyrock. Buffalo Bills, huh?
Yeah, so in going with it, because our guest today is a big Bills fan, my original instinct was to quote the Eminem song, Buffalo Bill, but it's all about like skinning, and it was a little graphic, I think, for our audience.
I can't say that I know that one.
Buffalo Bill, Buffalo Bill.
Okay.
We'll play it for you after.
That's great. No, but our guest is a huge Buffalo Bills fan. So let me introduce her. We're going to bring on Linzee Page.
Formerly known as.
Formerly FKA, who is VP of Business Systems here at MB2. She's been here for 14 years and has had a long, winding journey. She did not start as a business systems vice president, so we can talk about how she got there. But welcome, Linzee. We are excited to have you on.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Can you tell us why the Bills?
I was going to say, I love the Josh Allen reference.
Thank you. Well, I had to look.
You did your research.
And he was like hot, and I was like, okay.
Yes.
Nobody told me if I knew sports were hot, I'd watch more.
So my husband, his whole family is from Buffalo, and he's been a Buffalo Bills his whole life. And I'm a bandwagon fan, but it's a lot of fun.
I think you can say bandwagon when it was new, but I think you've become diehard. Like you're off the bandwagon and on the field. I don't think that's right.
I don't know. On the bus?
On the bus.
I don't know. No, for real, you are a committed Bills fan. So I would definitely agree with what Sarah said. You're not a bandwagon fan. You are you married into it now, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I was going to say, when I was doing my research, there was something about flipping tables. Is that like a thing?
I
want to know.
Tables.
Oh, breaking
tables. Yeah. So when you go up to the Highmark Stadium for all of the...
Which is their stadium.
Yes, in Buffalo. You do all of your tailgating. It's always like below zero. They will take trash cans and put them on fire just to get some heat.
Oh, not to be rambunctious.
No.
Okay.
And then you'll put the tables out and they'll get on top of cars. They'll drop down. It's wild.
I said I will. WWE?
Kind of.
But you can't have alcohol at these things, right?
Never.
Wait, why?
That was sarcasm.
It's a joke.
Oh.
Yeah, everybody's,
They're drunk.
I say this is our year for the Super Bowl, and if we make it, I'll jump through a table.
Through a table?
Yeah.
Because that's what
it's
they
just
do.
it's like a fold-up cafeteria table, like a plastic one.
But you like jump on top and it bends in half.
Yes.
It's not like karate chopping it.
No, like somebody will lay on it, like you said, WWF or WWE, whatever it's called now. Yeah.
Okay, dope.
It's a special breed.
But yeah, they've just been fans for their entire life. Like it's been 30-something years with my husband. He's like a diehard fan, and it's been a lot of fun. I mean, the fans up there are great. You know, we have all of our family up there, so we go and visit a lot. But we try to make it out to games at least once or twice a year, but missed last season, so hopefully this season we'll get to a few.
Why'd you miss last season?
I had a baby.
Oh, yeah.
Her name is Buffalo. I'm just kidding.
Her name's Ella. So.
I feel like that's a good reason to miss them.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Linzee, I was going to start with when you got to MB2, but I thought better of it. Let's start when I got to MB2.
Oh my gosh.
Do you guys remember?
This is my favorite memory, I think.
Is it?
Yes.
For real?
One of them.
Where we were
Tell me
sitting
about
at the
it.
ranch. We had a happy hour with our teams, and at that point the BD team was like 4, and it was you guys and Susan, and
Was
we
I
sat
there?
Yeah, you were there.
Okay.
You sat across from me and Linzee, and I remember like trying to get to know you guys and thinking, these ladies think that I am the weirdest person here, and they're like, get
Yes,
me
we
away
still
from this guy.
do.
Oh, okay.
Now we're on a podcast together. When was that? When did you start?
2019.
When did you start?
2011.
What was your first title with MB2?
Front desk girl.
How did you get introduced to your front desk girl job?
So I had been working in dental for quite a few years before coming to MB2, and I had moved closer to the east, like towards like Royce City area. And I was just looking for a new job. Didn't want to have to drive forever and ever. So applied and got a call back from Vanessa Dardano, who is Dr. Dardano's sister. So she hired me at one of the Greenville locations as the front office girl, like just doing insurance answering phones.
At the time, did you understand, like, was there the same reputation that like dental groups had? I don't know what your experience in dental was prior, but were you like, oh, this is part of a group, this is going to be weird? Or
No, so before I actually got hired here, I did an interview with, it might have been another local group or maybe a bigger one, but my knowledge of dentistry wasn't what it is now. I
hope not. It's been some years.
I originally wanted to be a hygienist, so that's why I even started in dental. I was like, let me just get my foot in the door, let me go work at the front office, and let me figure out, is this what I want to do? And here we are.
And you like the admin signing up, you were like, I don't want to be in people's mouths.
Yeah, basically got stuck, but it's a good stuck. You know, it's like, I don't want to be chair side with a patient schedule and all of that. So, but yeah, I started front office there. And then that's around the time MB2 was growing into de novos. And so a lot of those teams were driving back and forth to Houston, the Austin area, opening those practices. So I naturally just kind of stepped into that like office manager role at the Greenville location. So although Vanessa was there helping me do everything, I was really kind of like the lead in the practice.
Like the boots on the ground. I'm here every day. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a very busy, very, very busy location. So we were there, and then, you know, Vanessa ended up, you know, growing and saying, you know, she had to be regional. So she's like, you've got to be the office manager here. You have to like take it on. And I'm like, okay, cool. So just kind of like, you know, followed the lead and like, all right, cool. And then from there, I think that's when Will Gill came on. He shared in his podcast because I listened.
Yeah. What episode was that, JT?
One of the last ones we did.
Pretty recent.
Will got hired on, and they started, you know, to hire more of like the director roles. Yeah. And that's when, you know, Puckett came on, and JC and Susan. And so we were starting to grow in that manner, but just kind of stepped into a role of like a regional and was around DFW, just helping support whatever I needed to do, just around, you know. But I actually thought you were going to tell the story about when you got hired. You had the biggest, longest beard I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. And then you shaved it one day.
And then you walked in like the next week, and I was like, who is that guy? Yeah, that was...
Yeah, it was the fact that you acted like nothing happened. Like your entire face was different, and you were just like...
So what was I supposed to do? Walk in, hey guys, I shaved my beard.
Yes,
my face is different.
Helpful.
Just want to warn... Like, you kind of look at me and be like, oh, the guy looks different because he shaved his beard.
Okay,
I do remember that, though. That is another good one.
But yeah, so that was just kind of like the journey of, I feel like I've really grown up here. Obviously, it's been 14 years. And
did you get to a point that you were like, I'm done working in a practice, I'd rather work for HQ? Or did that happen kind of like the OM position where it was just like organically the next step?
Yeah, I think it's all been organic. Obviously, having the executives hired and having more of a strategy here has helped me.
Yeah.
Whenever Susan got hired, don't quote me on this, but I think she was hired as like VP of operations. And so I was naturally already working with her from an operations side in the practices. And she's like, hey, I need your help on this project. I need your help on that project. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. You know, I was young, single, you know, all the things. So I'm like, that's cool, I'll do it.
I feel like saying yes at MB2 is how you grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, and it's just, it was an opportunity that, you know, I feel like looking back, I was a lot younger, so I didn't really know what that opportunity was going to bring. But to me, it was like, I'm just learning more.
Why not?
And this is, So started to help with a lot of those projects. And then we started acquiring practices with no real process. We were just kind of like, okay, this person really likes our model and wants to join us, and let's acquire them. And Susan was like, can you help me on this? And so it was really like these projects. Let me help you here. Let me help you there. Like, I'll fly down here. I'll do this, you know, whatever. But here we are.
Do you remember how you and I met?
Yeah, through Big Brother.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I remember getting asked to join integration, and I remember JC pitching it to me. And I was so dumb that I was like, I don't know what we're talking about. Like, my bosses were in there and JC was in there, and I was like, can you say that but dumber?
Yeah.
And I remember my boss being like, you'd be like Lindsay Youngblood. And I was like, why though? But I remember I was like, okay, great. And I asked you to go to dinner with me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, as you probably know, and you're like, I had no idea, but I was like, tell me really, what's it like?
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, well, this girl's going to be on my team, so I got to make her like me. So I remember just walking in one day and being like, so I heard you like Big Brother. We should talk about Big Brother. And fun fact, I don't know that I've watched Big Brother since then until this year when Lindsay texted me and was like, Big Brother's back.
It's amazing.
So yeah, I kind of forced you into being my friend. But yeah, at the time, I think it was just you and integration whenever that transition happened for me.
Yeah. So when I first started working at HQ, Jake Berry had just gotten hired, and I was kind of
Jake Berry.
Yes.
And you had an office. Do you remember that?
I do. Yeah. We all had an office at one point.
I mean, I shared mine with 5 people. But yeah, same thing.
But I was working primarily with him. And again, Sarah, to your point, like how you felt is how I felt with Jake. Like Jake would say stuff, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I still feel that way.
Yeah. And Susan was kind of off the side, like kind of helping us. And then it was like, Susan and I need to try and do this like together. And so she really started the department. I was like the first team member, I guess, that she brought on. And we've just really grown it from there. And, you know, the integration team, they at one point had 25 people on the team just because the growth has been so great with MB2.
Yeah, it's incredible to think, like when I got here in 2019.
With a beard.
With the beard. I have a beard now.
Yeah.
Go check
Not
it out.
like the other beard.
Go check us out on YouTube and you can see it. Sorry, I digress. We're building the follower counts, Lindsay. So got to drop those in from time to time. But when I got here in 2019, I knew what I was getting into as far as transactions are concerned because I had done that in my career. But the integration process of a transaction was something that scared me to death because before coming to MB2, I was not only in charge of the transaction, but also doing everything for integration. So our first integration call, we worked on, like my first deal I worked on with you, but I was so impressed because I had this nervous, like it was this cold sweat. We get on this phone, all these people are sitting around the table, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? And you started talking, and I was like, oh, Sarah and Lindsay and Susan, they've got all this figured out. Like I just have to sit back here.
We absolutely did not have it figured out.
No. You fooled me at that point. But what I think is incredible is seeing how the integration team, largely because of y'all's contributions, like how the integration team has grown, and that has become one of the areas that I always talk with prospective partners about. How like you want to know the secret sauce. There's a few things that are mixed in there, but the integration process and how you ladies and the team now continues to work is really and truly been a huge part of the growth and success. So I was impressed from day one. I was like, okay, I should probably get to know these ladies.
I'm going to turn this into like, let's talk about our experience with Lindsay podcast. But I had a very similar experience with Lindsay whenever I first started because I came from like practice marketing. Oh my gosh, I remember going into my first practice and there was the EOB thing. They're like, oh, what do we do with the EOBs? And I was like, Lindsay, what's an EOB? But I remember it was an integration call and it was my very first acquisition. And this doctor was green like me. So he had a lot of questions. And so I remember sitting, this was before we did Zoom. So we had like the conference room box that we were on. And he would ask a question. I said, Lindsay, I need you in here with me. And she came and she sat there and he'd ask a question and she'd nod her head. And I'd be like, yes. No, that's not what
like
we do. But, you know, you stepped into a position that didn't exist in a department that was being built where you knew you were going to have to travel as somebody who had been on a plane once.
Yeah. So I had been on a plane one time.
Were you scared of flying or was it more just accessibility?
Accessibility. I just never had the desire. Like we didn't travel really growing up through planes. So I was like, I just never did. But I had a friend that, funny enough, she had her birthday in Vegas. And so that was my first flight.
Oh, that's intense for your first.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was fun coming back. But yeah, I had flown one time. And so I was very nervous about having to do that. And now it's just like, I don't even think about it.
It's old hat
like walking. Yeah. But yeah, it was a lot of travel. It was a lot of fun. You know, I was able to do a lot of things that, you know, I've always wanted to do. I'd never been to Disney before. We acquired a practice that was just in the same town. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay. I'm going to go to Disney.
That's cool.
You know, I was able to travel all the Northeast and just do all the fun things. And so, yeah, I enjoyed that time of my life at MB2 for sure. And I feel like I'm always going to be like a member of it.
No, I still view you as a member of integration, even though we don't see you that often anymore.
Yeah.
Would you say that Disney trip? Like, has that been your favorite? Like, if you went back and you thought, okay, what was the best trip that I took with, MB2 or in integration? Do you have one that stands out?
Even if it's not like you went somewhere cool, but I feel like we all had those like really interesting experiences where like, oh my gosh, I could never forget this.
Yeah. Probably my favorite city that I traveled to when we did Connecticut, I was driving up through like Boston and stuff. So I really like Boston, but yeah, there's a lot of like wild stories that can come out of your traveling, which I know everybody knows, but we traveled to a practice in the middle of Missouri. I think it was Missouri. And there's not a lot of hotels there. And so I said, hey, doc, can you, like, where should I stay? Like, there's nowhere for like an hour away. And he's like, oh, he calls me and he's like, okay, I'm walking into these few places. Like, okay,
Oh my gosh, so sweet.
yeah. Okay, it smells great. It's like, I think it's good. Yeah, I would definitely stay here. And so I'm like, okay. So we fly there, and it was me and a few other people. A few people from BD went, and you were on a different road trip.
Oh, I remember, because we
Yeah.
were staying in a room in Austin, Texas with a fireplace in
Yeah,
it.
they were like fancy, and we were like not.
I remember this because I remember that trip, because you guys had something crazy happen where you had to drive back in the middle of the night or something.
We drove to Houston to have a midday meeting, then to Austin to have a dinner meeting, and then stayed in Austin to have a morning meeting, and then drove back.
Yeah, I remember that. So I know exactly.
Yeah,
I'm there.
yeah. And so we get there, and I'm like, where are we staying? There's like one Sonic, and you literally walk in, and the sign says, do not gut fish in the hotel room. And I was like, oh my God. Because
Oh
it was
my
on
gosh, who was it that created the need for that rule?
it's
You know what I
on
mean? Like somebody definitely
Yeah.
gutted fish in
Yeah.
there.
Well, it's on a popular like lake. It's like Lake of the Ozarks
Right.
and stuff. So, but yeah, it was. I was like, there was some sketchy stuff. I was like, this is scary.
It looked like the
I've never.
walls were bleeding. It was creepy.
It was, yeah. So when we went back, I stayed an hour away and drove an hour to the practice every day.
Smart move.
So a lot of things, just little stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I think being able to travel to like Boston was fun, California, like all the places. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, and over your time, like you mentioned, the integration team got pretty large. You helped not only build the entire integration team, but also the integration coordinator team. What kind of prompted the need for a arm of integration to be created?
yeah, so as you mentioned, like back in the day, like we didn't know what we were doing, and I feel like even now, every time we partner with a practice, we always learn something new. There's different nuances.
Yeah,
things-
wait, hold on. Sorry. Let me pause. Let's talk about what integration is, like what the integration team is responsible for. I know we've touched on it high level, but
Yeah.
I was going to say for my dad, but my dad actually knows because I did that for so long. But like for the people that are listening that
Yeah.
may not know.
Well, for Ella, when she goes back and listens to
Oh my
this.
gosh.
Yes.
And she's, yeah.
So the integration team works closely with business development. So anytime a practice is joining MB2, they'll work with your integration director leading up to that partnership date. And we really are responsible for making sure that everything is smooth. You get to the finish line, and then we're there to support like during that first week. So I feel like we always kind of joke like, okay, we're engaged, we're learning about each other. We partner, now we're married. Now we got to learn how to like live with each other pretty much. And so that's integration, really hands hold that doctor through that process.
So you guys are helping with like the operational.
Yep.
Acquisition.
I always say diligence, but I like how you just characterized it because, hey, you're married, I'm married, Sarah's about to get married.
Damn straight.
You'd much rather get to know somebody before you get married than after you get married.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I always say, Doc, this is operational diligence. We're going to help. BD's going to help with legal and finance.
Yep.
And along with, everything else. But the integration team's really focused on how your practice integrates into MB2 and vice versa.
Yeah. So throughout the integration process, we have a lot of checklist items, things that we need to get done in order to get like the practice joined. We don't want to miss anything. I just saw a bigger need of more support, like from the back end. So yes, us as integration directors can onboard a doctor and talk with them and do all the planning. But when it comes to the very fine details of how are we transitioning certain vendors? What are we doing with pricing? What are we doing with old bank accounts, like all of that type of stuff
The
was
stuff that's hard to do when you're on the road and you're trying to coordinate.
yeah. And so that team I really grew of like, we can do this. Like it might not be a true integration function that like we are used to doing, but we can do it. And so I built that team and they're going strong.
That's so cool. And how did you end up in business systems? And what is business systems for us lay people?
I believe you mean BSD, as it's known internally.
Yes.
Business systems department.
So the business systems department is new at MB2 as of January of this year. Really, our goal is to support practices for any vendors, technology vendors that they're wanting to utilize. So think about patient reminder system, new imaging software if you're doing a practice management software conversion, anything relative to technology that really plugs into the software. So I work hand in hand with IT and compliance, making sure that we've got everything. A lot of boring things.
No, I think that's so necessary.
No, 100% it's necessary. Have you guys audited like all the practices? So we have almost 800 practices now. Have you audited them all to figure out how many of these softwares exist within the MB2 ecosystem?
Yeah, that's kind of what we're doing right now.
Okay.
We're in that auditing phase. It's also going to help us understand how many practices utilize certain vendors. We can, hopefully get some pricing with them and all that good stuff. So yeah, it's very early in the phases. I think the biggest thing right now is practice management software conversions, helping, making sure that all those like little projects are up and going. So
For sure. I
it's a lot
think
of fun.
it's cool to hear your story just because I think it says a lot about, we hear talent alignment preached all the time, but just about the opportunity and room for growth in the organization. I mean, you have stepped into two different positions that didn't exist without you. And that's one of the things that I think is the biggest value add for our partners is that we're adapting and growing, but also a really good opportunity for our team members that are interested, whether they're in a practice now and they are tired. I had a dentist appointment the other day and the hygienist was asking me like, when I'm done hygienisting, I don't think that's right.
Sure.
She was like, I heard about an integration team. Like, what does that look like? So I think that's a good thing along with just growth in the organization. On top of those items, I know JT wanted to ask about this, but you've also taken on additional responsibilities with an MB2, such as the MB2 Family Foundation.
Yeah. So of all the years I've been here at MB2, Dr. V and team they've always given back somehow.
Yeah.
It wasn't ever formalized. So we have, whether it's hurricanes, fires, like anything natural disaster, they've always kind of rallied together to do that.
Even the Elves Initiative existed before the Family Foundation.
Yeah. Or like the back to school,
the
like,
backpacks
there's always something that they're doing to like give back to the employees. But at some point, we want to be able to do more. And so a few years ago, Susan said, I'm nominating you. I want you to be a part of the foundation and the board. And again, I was like, all right, cool. Like, I don't know what this means, but just like everything else at MB2, we'll figure it out. And so we created the MB2 Family Foundation. I was a board member originally, just trying to help it get off the ground. And, it's new for us. And so we're all learning it. And about a year and a half ago, I took on as president. So it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy processes and implementing better technology or better, just overall processes in general. And so it's been fun to really learn what we can do with the foundation, how we can take it to the next level. But the foundation, it gives back to all of our employees. So we have if somebody has anything that's going on, I mean, we see everything from the unimaginable to the smallest things. If somebody
I was gonna say, tell us a little bit about the impact that you've seen in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, it's heartbreaking a lot of times to be able to see some of these stories, but at the same time, you're able to say like, oh, I've been a part of that. And I feel like everybody that works in this building at every affiliated office should be proud of that too, because all the contributions that we get from whether it's you can sign up for a payroll deduction or you do a one-time donation, sometimes we will do swag sales, all of that money is going directly back into these employees. So it's something I feel really proud of, just to be able to see the impact that we have made on some people. We get letters and testimonies and all everything, and it's just great, and it's definitely needed. I think it's great.
Yeah, I always love hearing the stories. Like we'll go to an event or just in general get an email that props up, hey, here's what we've been doing. I guess we get quarterly notifications at minimum monthly. Yeah, I knew it was something, but I love reading the stories. It's like, oh, so-and-so had, to go get a medical treatment and, it wasn't covered or they didn't have insurance or something. And so the Family Foundation stepped in and, those are fun in a way. Like you said, it's sad, but it's also, maybe bittersweet's the right word.
It's different than watching the news where you're watching stuff and you're like, I literally can't do anything about that. It's like you can see tragedy striking and being able to actually do something.
Yeah.
That's what you meant when you said fun, right?
But yeah, it's impactful.
Yeah.
And I love that it's part of MB2.
Yeah.
Like it's my colleague that maybe I've never met because they're a dental assistant in a practice in the middle of Missouri.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, they're a colleague of mine. That's how I've always looked at it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've enjoyed kind of taking the lead there and just being the front face of it and doing all the auctions and working with all the owners and organizing all of that. So it's a lot of fun. I really, really enjoy it. I hope that we can continue to grow it and just do more and more to help our employees.
When's the next election? If I wanted to run for president of the Family Foundation.
I was like, what are you talking about? You can't.
Why not?
Because I'm the president. That doesn't change.
Oh, you just get to be the president forever?
This is a dictatorship. This is not a...
No, we've made some changes over the years just based on people, and we have said in the back, in the past that we were going to, like every other year or so, but it just naturally has just stayed with me, which I don't mind.
Okay.
If they want to, say somebody else, fine.
So before we wrap up, I know we've talked about the different roles that you've played within the organization, but I don't feel like we've touched enough on the leadership positions that you've held as well. So over the years, you've had a lot of different positions where people were mentored, supported, reported to you. Tell our listeners a little bit about your leadership style.
Yeah, so Susan has really been the leader that I've kind of looked to and, the mentor that I've had. And, I've learned a lot from her. I've learned so much on how to grow a team, how to stay organized. I think I could organize things so much better than I used to just with her. But with my leadership style, I really want my team to feel like they're a part of something. Like I am constantly involving everybody on everything because I'm like, I want you to be involved in this and feel like you have like a say in kind of like where the department is going. Especially now I have a new department. So it's like we're growing, we're figuring it out. And it's like the more people that we have on the same team, the better. But I really like to have a safe environment. I try to get to know people on a personal level, not that I have to be too nosy, but, I want to have a relationship with people. I think growing a relationship with people and earning their trust, it just creates that long-term relationship with them better. So safe environment, I try to be as laid back as I can. I want it to be fun. I want it to be, where they can come to me for anything, whether it's personal, work. I always have their back. I feel like I go to bat for people, and instead of them taking the fall, I'm going to take the fall for them, and just, we'll figure it out together. So, I've really learned a lot, from everybody here at MB2 because, everybody does everything a little bit different. And I've gotten to see those different styles from, like I said, Susan. She's kind of helped me grow along the way. She's really been that person that has noticed my abilities and been able to say, hey, this, I think this is really a good step for you. Say with this department, I went on maternity leave and came back, and she's like, hey, we have a huge need at, the business for this. And I think
it usually starts with, so I have an idea.
Yes.
Your whole career is about to change.
I was on maternity leave and she's like, let's go for lunch. I have ideas. And I'm like, oh goodness, what are your ideas? But, and again, we're human. We naturally don't like change. And I think over the years, my advice to anybody would be continue to say yes to those open doors, even when it doesn't feel like it makes sense. Obviously it's put there for a reason. And sometimes just taking that first step and that first leap is like really what you have to do. Like I always say, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like people ask me, I'm like, why are you asking me? I have no idea. And like, yeah, I know some things, but it's like we just all figure it out together. And I feel like that's the one thing that I love about being here and, you know, working with all the different teams is we all have each other's back. We have one end goal. We just want to support our practices and our partners and do what we can. So
Respect.
Big time respect. Big time respect. Well, before we let you go, is there anything else that we didn't hit on that you'd like to hit on? I know that you had I think a list of topics you wanted to talk about before you got here.
I know you were so excited to talk about your proudest moment at MB2.
No, it's been a journey. It's been fun. You know, people are always giving me a hard time, like, oh, you've been here for 14 years. I'm like, I know, it's been forever. And it's, yeah, it's been so much fun to see it grow from what it was to what it is now. And like, even now, it's like, we're still growing.
How many offices were there when you started? Do you know?
Oh gosh, like, again, don't quote me. I don't want to fail this test, but like 20 to 30
Jeez.
maybe. And
That's so crazy to think about.
So we have,
Call it 800 now.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, but it's been around, so it's been a lot of fun.
Cool.
Well, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, Lindsee, thanks for
having
joining
me.
us. Look, you mentioned something that I'd be remiss if I didn't say, that you have appreciated that Susan has noticed your ability and your skill. You know, as one of your colleagues, again, I already mentioned this on the podcast, but getting here, I recognize that really, really early. And so it's been a lot of fun to see you do what you have done. And yeah, you're an incredible colleague. So I'm excited to know that. All right, not excited. I want you to know that it is very much recognized outside of just Susan.
Thank you.
I mean, you're all right.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
It's
You know.
I mean, I only owe everything I've learned here to you, but it's fine.
I appreciate it.
Well, MB2 Undergrounders, we have reached the end of this episode with Linzee Page. We will plan to see you guys next time.
Ciao.